Good evening, Dan. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
All right. So I know it's been a while. We're just trying to get the schedule right, and then we just completed the Australian Open final. So I know we've been trying to talk about that. So let's dive right into it, and then good prediction by you, Dan. In picking Sinner, I think um, to beat Djokovic, which is very surprising. But let's dive right into the this one. This was an epic match. Sinner came back to defeat Medvedev in 5 sets, down 2 sets, and then came back to win. So uh, let's. I want to hear your thoughts on after you were able to catch up with the match. Hear your thoughts on what you thought was critical in Sinner winning the match.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch the match live just due to the the time difference, 3:30 a.m. start time, and so I was able to kind of catch up last night a little bit after after the two championship football games. I was able to watch the last couple sets, so kind of put it on where Sinner, after he was in the fourth set, I wanted to kind of see what he did the last few sets to kind of come back and then help catapult him to his first major. And based on what the analysts were talking about during the commentary, they kind of said that Medvedev in the first few sets was much more on the offensive. He took it to him a little more aggressive. And in the last couple sets when Sinner, came from behind from 2 sets down, Sinner was the one controlling the points, being the aggressor. Medvedev was just content rallying with Sinner, which I kind of said in our preview a couple days ago was probably not going to be enough. I said a couple of years ago when Sinner was first coming up on the scene, he wasn't the kind of player who would hang in a rally. You'd hit maybe 5-6 shots back and forth, lose his patience, and go for a winner, and be be a little too overly aggressive and hit some erratic shots. And he's changed now. He can still hit those aggressive, great winners, but he's content hanging in a 20-ball rally now. And so that's what he kind of did in the last couple sets. He was just him and Medvedev backboard back and forth until he kind of got a short ball, saw an opening, and then he would kind of attack, whether it was a cross court forehand or a down the line forehand or a down the line backhand. He just kind of waited for his moment and then seized it. And Medvedev just kind of ran out of steam a little bit. He was still some amazing points down the stretch. That I was just amazed at the quality of tennis the whole match, really, to be honest. But Sinner just kind of wore him down those last few sets and kind of did what I thought he would do. I didn't think that would he followed that down 2 sets to love. I did not see that coming, but I'm not surprised that he got his first major yesterday.
Yeah, I think for me, I think I was able to catch at least from the second set. I think I know it was early in the morning, like you said, but I was able to catch from 4-1 where Medvedev was up in the second set. So the for me the critical, I would say the portion of the where it changed was not in the third or fourth set. I think it actually changed in the second set, in my opinion. I'll tell you why. Medvedev was up 5-1. It was coasting, but Sinner actually managed to win back-to-back games there, and he definitely got the momentum going during the second set. And in the third set, it was, for most part, it was, they were both holding serves, and it went back to like what we were talking about when we played against Djokovic. He was unbreakable, and at 4-all in the third set, he held and then he broke him. Again in the same thing in the fourth set. It was like 4-all going back and forth. Sinner, took the 5-4, then got the ad on Medvedev's serve, and then just unleashed a big forehand on Medvedev's forehand, and then Medvedev put it out. So again, it came down to 1 or 2 points, and that's what was needed. And then once it got like you mentioned Medvedev. Actually, one thing I did hear, both McEnroe
Mhm.
brothers talk about was the amount of time, he spent. Medvedev spent on the court. He spent. I mean, if he had won it, he probably would have spent the longest,
Yeah.
as more than any other player would have spent. Um, and I think that's where I think that the tide turned, and then I think the other big thing in the fifth set was that when, uh, it was 3-2 Sinner, and then Sinner broke him for a 4-2 lead, and that's. I mean, he was very aggressive, and that's where I started in the second set, but like I said, no one saw it coming. I didn't see it coming, even though
Yeah.
he got sets, two games. I didn't see that coming. So
Yeah, and then I'll give all the credit in the world. I was curious to see, the hardest thing is when you're whether you're a veteran like Djokovic or whether you're up and comer like Sinner. The hardest thing is to close out that match. And at 5-3, he was serving at 5-3, I think, to close it out. Is that correct? 5-3.
yeah,
I think he got off to a love 30 start in that game, though. I'm like, here it goes. He got broken. He's feeling the nerves, and he hit some really loose shots, I think 2 in a row in that game when he was trying to serve it out. He had a weak little backhand that he got in front of, and then a forehand that I think he overhit. You could just feel yourself. As we're tennis players, we know how that feeling is when you tighten up trying to close out a match. It's a lot easier sometimes to play from behind than from ahead, especially when you're trying to close out your first major. But then he got it together. Got a few good serves in there, and then that last point was brilliant. He just kind of hung in a rally, waited for the forehand, pounced on it, and it was a clean winner. I think cross court to end the match. It was beautiful.
yeah. You made a point about what Sinner's thing was about in the previous years where he would not he would hit like 5 or 6 shots. A lot of the shots that he won, they were like a 27-point rally, 27 ball rally. There was a 36 ball rally. He won all those things, which clearly tells you how this kid has matured.
Yep.
And I mean, it's incredible to see. You had Alcaraz winning the Wimbledon, young 20-year-old. You have Sinner winning the 22. It almost seems that it went from the big three to me, and then it almost skipped a little generation with like the Tsitsipas's and Zverevs and Themes and all those guys, and jumped straight to the new guys, who's Alcaraz and Sinner. Um, I was telling a friend of mine saying it went from a big three to a big two and the GOAT. So I think Djokovic is not done in my mind. I mean, he's still the favorite to win the Wimbledon. I think. Let's see what happens in the French Open, but we have a big break between now. But I think all kudos to Sinner for I think he had one 4-setter and one 5-setter. That's about it. All
Yep.
his matches were straight set victories. So it was I would call it solid performance all around.
Yeah, and just I saw an interesting stat today about Medvedev. I think he's the only player ever to be up in a Grand Slam, 2 Grand Slam finals, 2 sets to love, and lose them both. Once to Rafa a couple of years ago, right, and then
Yep.
Yesterday, obviously to Sinner. So yeah, just
Yep.
interesting stat. I mean, it's not a great stat to have, but still, yeah, he got to the final. Medvedev's a top 5 player. He's on top of his game right now. But it just shows you what it takes to win a title. It's not easy.
Yep. And I think we were talking about it, right? The player gets the confidence. I think Sinner was always on the, he won some ATP tournaments, but winning this Australian Open will give him a lot of confidence. The only thing I will always wonder is that whether it's Alcaraz or even Sinner, the mental toughness that you need, like a Djokovic or any of those the two other big three, like Rafa and Federer, to keep going. That I mean, when I look at the number of players who won in the recent years, who have won multiple majors, I'm talking about 4 or 5. There are not many people you can name. I mean, I think Wawrinka won 4, I believe. But other than that, other than the big 3, you don't see players. So the good thing is like you have Alcaraz with 2. If Sinner gets the second one, I think then we can say game on. I mean, I think.
Oh yeah.
But this is a big notice to other young players like Ruud and Rune that these 2 guys are here to stay, and it's going to be a tough to get through any tournament with these 2 guys there.
Yeah, and this also I think is gonna just it's just gonna spur on Djokovic, like you said, that much more. He doesn't like losing. I mean, he's got 24 of them, but he believe me, he's hungry for 25 and 26 and 27. I'm sure. So he when he lost Carlos at the Wimbledon last year. He just fired him up at the U.S. Open. He didn't get a chance to get revenge against Carlos, but he won the U.S. Open overall, as we saw. And I think this is just gonna drive him that much further to want to get another title or two at a major this year. So yeah, we'll see what happens at the French and then at Wimbledon.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Thanks. I know we waited because I think we want to make sure that we both got a chance to review the match before we can comment on it. I mean, watching it live was incredible. It was worth it, I think, losing some sleep there. But
Yeah.
Well done, Sinner.
Well, that's correct. All right. Well, have a great
All
night.
right.
And we'll talk
All
soon.
right. We'll see you tomorrow at tennis. Thank you.
All right. Bye.